tutorial for my Geode collection, which has all the brushes needed to paint compositions like this one. And I'll show you how. I just have a square to start with, and this is a dual color brush I'm starting with, so I'm choosing, if I tap on my color at the top, I'm going to go to my Dreamy Geodes color swatch and choose two colors from the swatch. I'm in this case using similar colors. I have a kind of a grayish blue and a teal blue. And now I'm going to choose my color. I have these organized from start to finish of the product, or at least the recommended way to do it. So you can either start with the circular or with the crystallized brush, and then you would work your way through. You won't want to use all of these. Maybe you just want to try different ones for different things. This would be like for adding some layers and more detail toward the end. And for those of you who want something super quick, there's some stamps at the bottom there. So I'll start the first demo with the circular brush, and I'm just going to start right in the middle and make circular motions around and around and kind of make it interesting. I don't want an exact circle. Just kind of play around and have fun. And I've stopped, and now I'm going to go back and add another layer around just to add some interest and some depth. So this is my beginning layer, and obviously this does not look like a geode yet. It looks a little bit like a target sign or a target, but we're obviously going to add quite a bit to that, and the trick is that we are going to work in layers. So let me go to a new layer. I'm going to keep this same color, and I'll do a little daubing, my color dauber. I'm going to bring that right in the center. A lot of these are holographic, which means that when you layer the colors on top of one another, you're going to get a really cool type of a glow. So the dauber you can use either for lines or as obviously a tapping brush, as you just saw that I did. And I'm just trying to create a little interest here. And just as I said before, just having some fun. I'm going to turn down my opacity. You do a little something there. And maybe now I'll change my color to a little bit darker for the main color. And maybe for my secondary color, I'll put something like this, a tan, just because I want to go have something interesting on the start to create the hint of the outer part of the geode, like the shell. So there we go. Now I'll move up to another layer, and I'm going to choose, this is one of my favorites, a holographic geode filler and the geo filler. Both of these are among my favorites. So I'll start with the holographic geode filler. I'm going to choose two colors for this because it's a dual color brush. So I'm going to choose like a sweet purple, and again, I like that gray blue for this. And if you look at this, the size, you can see the shape of this brush. It's going to be very interesting. So I'm going to do some fill with this. And it's going to give me a really rocky, crystallized type of a look. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, maybe I can also use this as a liner for some details. So this is pressure sensitive. So as I press harder, I'm going to get a darker and larger crystal. Okay, moving right ahead onto another layer. Going now with the geode filler. And again, you do not have to use every brush with every with every layer, every geode, you're going to want to mix it up. So now I'm going to make some lighter places, and just, it's really all about having a lot of fun. And I find it looks nicest when I put some, like a dark layer next to a light layer, and the contrast that comes through is nice. So that was my geode filler. I think I'm gonna want to do a little, you've got so many choices. Jagged crystals is one of my favorites. We can use that next time on the next geode we draw. I think I'm gonna go with a dark glitter liner now and go with a dark color, maybe even darker than that. And I'm gonna kind of add some texture to this shell we created. It's not going to line up perfectly, and that's okay because we can always fix that later. It's really right now, we're just still having fun with this. I'm gonna go around just wherever I think that this effect is going to look really nice. And the wonderful thing about Procreate is when you make a mistake, you just hit the back button and you can do it all over again. So there is no fear. So I'm just kind of not following perfectly, but gently using the guidelines of my first shape. Going round and round. Maybe add a little bit in here. And I'm gonna stay with this dark color, but I'm gonna go even darker with my other one all the way to deep black. And I'm just gonna stay with this brush and come down here at the edge of my shell. And make my brush a little smaller. Trying to get some fine lines in there. Oops, dropped my pencil. Really, as I was saying, if you're having fun, you're doing it correctly. Make this a little larger and go again down. I kind of want a really dark look there, so I actually might go ahead and freehand select this with the magic wands and change it to be a little bit darker there, just for dramatic effect. Now, I don't like the way that this transition goes from dark to light so quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and get one of my blenders, either the rough or the smooth blender. In this case, I want to choose the rough blender because it's kind of perfect with what we've already done. Because if you see, the shape of the blender is very similar to what we've been working on. So I'm going to combine all my layers just for a moment so that I can show you how this blender kind of organically marries the colors together. This is a geode blender. It's specific for this piece or this collection. And you can use it wherever you think you might want to have a little more interest, break up a line. Okay, I'm going to another layer, and I think I'm going to choose a foil accent brush. Now, I like to use lots of different layers so that if I mess up, I can just erase the layer. Okay, so I'm going to kind of do a thin foil around this shape And I'm just gonna kind of guess and check. I'll see if I like that. I'll keep it. Actually, I think I'm gonna hit the back button and go a little bit thinner than that. And I'm gonna try that again. And I do like that, but let me try to be a little bit more consistent with, there we go. So I do like that. I'm gonna make this a little thinner and go again around the outside. And remember, we can always also switch the opacity of the layers if we want something a little more subtle. So I'm gonna put the opacity here at 44 and go to another layer. And now I'm gonna wanna go a little bit larger. This is with my foil accent brush still. And let's see, I can have the foil be a little bit more visible on the section that's closest to me and less visible on the part that's further away. So because a lot of these brushes are pressure sensitive, I can make changes simply to the size simply by changing my pressure. So I'm gonna press a little bit more hard here. And maybe a little bit in here. And maybe a little there. So we're not done yet. I am going now to, I think I would like some glitter. I'm gonna go to my glitter liner and I'm going to select some glitter colors from my Dreamy Geodes color palette. So I have light, almost white. And I think I'm also gonna choose this very light sage. What size do I want? I like that size. Here's a size. Adding a little glitter here. Just wherever you think. It's your preference, and there's no right or wrong. Okay, so I'm going to merge my layers together now, and sometimes I like to go ahead and merge all the layers together and hit my arrow at the top so that at the bottom, if you see warp, sometimes I like to just play around a little bit with the shape, try to give it a little more interest, something a little more unusual. And now finally, the last step I'm going to do is clean it all up with this same magic wand. I'm just going to, since I have the whole layer selected, I'm just going to go ahead and see my marching ants and kind of do a ragged kind of a line around, leaving out the part I don't want. And just kind of circle the whole thing. So we are almost done, and that took no time at all. Let's add some more glitter because I think this piece can use a little more shine. Let's see if we like it here in the middle. Maybe I like to lighten up my my lights and darken my dark. So I don't like that blue there. But here's a trick I can do. I can go to the magic wand and bring my brightness up to 70. And now that is a look I do like. So now I'm just going to add some speckles. I have accent splatters here. And let's see. Probably want to add some speckles to the lights. So I'm going to lighten my lights. Just adding some speckly, glittery areas to the white, or I'm sorry, to the light parts. And then I'm going to do the same with the dark parts. I'm going to choose two dark colors, like maybe a deep gray and something from the palette, like maybe this purple. Let's see. Yep, I like that. Actually, I want to go even darker with that purple, so I'm going to bring the darkness down here and the saturation up a little bit. And if I make this a clipping mask, all of my sparkles will stay on my geode. So let's see how this will look. I'm going to go to the darker layers. Sorry, that clipping mask was already on. To make this one a clipping mask. Go to my darker layers and just adding kind of like a sparkly interest here. Also down here at the bottom, helps with shading. And gonna go even darker, even darker. Okay, so I like that look. Now I'm gonna add a layer over that, and this time do a really light color because I'm gonna address the light areas for highlights. I'm gonna go put my clipping mask back on, and I'm still on the accent splatters. So I'm gonna accent other areas. If you can just barely see. Let me try that again. I like this purple better. And I'm gonna tone that down a bit by taking my opacity down. And I think I'm happy with that. So I'll combine my layers. And now I just want some really attention-getting bang to finish my piece. So I'm gonna go to my foil accent brush. And I'm on another layer for this. I just want some really bright, vibrant look right here. So I'm gonna blur this just a bit. Okay, so I did not love that much. Let me try again. Let me click again. I'm gonna make my foil accent brush a little bit bigger this time. That seems better. Now I'm gonna resize it because it's a little big. So I'm going to make it nice and small. And again, I love the warping tool. It lets me blend one picture into another so seamlessly. I'm just going to take the opacity down a little bit for realistic reasons. And now I'll blend all these layers. I'm going to add a little more foil so I have a new layer that I just created. And I think this foil I'm gonna make really small, like a size 5. And I'm just gonna go lightly around, maybe size 12 actually. I'll go lightly around the darker areas of the geode. And we're almost there. I'll go ahead and turn the opacity down to, let's say 91% for that layer. Blend together. And I still want just a little something more. I think I'm gonna add some more accent splatters. But this time I think I'm gonna want them to be a little bit of glitter-like, so I'm gonna have a brown one and like a tan one.